Careblazer, when we talk about dementia, we often get focused on things like memory and behavior, but dementia also impacts all of our senses, what we're able to see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. Those changes can make daily life feel scary or very confusing, both for the person with dementia as well as for you, the Careblazer. So let's talk about these changes and help you figure out what might be normal aging and what might actually be a symptom of their dementia. First, let's start with vision. As we age, it's common for us to need reading glasses or brighter light to see more clearly. That's totally normal. But in dementia, it's affecting what we see, how we interpret what we see. So for instance, people with dementia often have trouble with spatial awareness or even depth perception. They might misjudge how far away a chair is and try to sit down and miss it, or they might misjudge and misinterpret a dark rug on the floor as maybe a hole in the floor. It's not just aging eyes. In dementia, it's literally struggling to make sense of what they're seeing. Another thing that often happens is the difficulty identifying people's faces or objects. Imagine seeing one of your loved ones and not being able to recognize their face. A lot of times we hear about people with dementia forgetting who somebody is, but what's not talked about a lot is there's something called prosopagnosia, which is basically facial blindness, where they don't even recognize the faces that they're seeing. Sometimes they don't even recognize an item that they're seeing. So they might look at a fork, but not be able to recognize that's a fork. Therefore, they might look confused about what they're even supposed to do with it. It's visual misrecognition, basically them struggling to process the visual information that they see. So in normal aging, we might notice signs like our slower ability to focus, minor changes in color vision, maybe light sensitivity, more difficulty driving at night. Maybe we need a change in our prescription, but we still understand what we're seeing. In dementia, the eyes could technically be fine, but the brain's interpretation of what it's seeing is disrupted. Everything we are seeing with our eyes is filtering through our brain. Vision and visual processing changes are often seen in Lewy body dementia, Parkinson's disease dementia, where visual hallucinations are common. So visual hallucinations are where the person is seeing something that actually isn't there at all. But again, it's because their brain is actually showing them that it's there. We can also see it in posterior cortical atrophy, where the vision and spatial awareness is disrupted. We can see it in Alzheimer's disease, where visual confusion, trouble recognizing people, places, things often start to appear in the middle to late stages. So if your loved one is someone that you think is experiencing visual or perceptual problems, some of the changes you might see in a day-to-day life might be them looking very cautious about where they're stepping, especially if there's a rug or a change in the flooring. Sometimes even shiny floors can look like it's wet. They might even say something like, "Don't make me step over that hole." They might try to walk around something when to you it doesn't seem like something is there. If they're having visual hallucinations, they might say something about something they're seeing that's not there. They might try to swat away or take things off of them that aren't there, like maybe swat bugs off of them, move people away that aren't there. They might look at you or somebody and stare blankly at them, not really as if they don't recognize them at all. These are all clues that maybe changes in their visual processing is happening. So that's vision. And actually in the coming weeks, I am going to do in-depth discussion on each sense individually. This video is just to get an overall broad view of how dementia impacts all of the senses and for you to get an idea if you think these are being impacted in your loved one. So let's move on to hearing. Many older adults experience hearing loss. That's normal aging. But when we talk about dementia, it goes a step further. People with dementia might be able to hear sounds normally, but again, have trouble processing what they're hearing, not understanding what those sounds mean. So they might hear you talking, but they don't actually understand the words you're saying. Or their ability to stay focused and hear something might be impaired when there's other noises around. So if you're at a restaurant and talking to them, they might have a extremely hard time hearing you because there's other noises happening. So in dementia, the ears can work just fine, but the brain's ability to interpret what they're hearing and to filter background noise is often damaged. We often see something like this in frontotemporal dementia, especially the language variants of frontotemporal dementia, where understanding words is difficult even with normal hearing. Alzheimer's disease, people often have trouble with hearing as well, especially in the later stages where they are having difficulty understanding and following conversation. And even in vascular dementia, depending on where the damage is occurring in the brain, can impact comprehension. If auditory or sound processing might be something that you are hearing or seeing in your loved one, you might notice they might say something like, "Stop yelling at me," even though you're speaking in a normal tone, because the words sound distorted to them or more harsh than you're actually speaking. Nodding along politely, but not really engaging, and later being confused because they didn't really understand what you're saying, but they just wanted it to look like they understood what you're saying. Turning up the TV super loud, even though they can hear fine, but because they're having trouble processing. And even saying "what," like repeatedly, even though they could hear you. It's just that they're not understanding you. If you suspect something like this is happening with your loved one, you can try facing your loved one when you're speaking to them, reduce background noise, speaking slowly to start, in short, direct phrases. All right, let's talk about touch. Touch can feel different for people with dementia. Now, as we age, we might become more sensitive to temperature and to pain. But in dementia, the brain's ability to sense different changes, their touch, their sensation, it can become unpredictable. Some people might seem unaware of pain, while others become overly sensitive even to light touch. Even the feel of water on their body can feel painful to them. Again, this can be seen in different types of dementia, including frontotemporal dementia, vascular dementia, Lewy body dementia. You might notice they get more sensitive to certain clothing that they're wearing. They might say, "Get this shirt off of me, it's itchy." They might pull away from hugs or touch that they never really did before because it feels painful or possibly threatening. They might hold a cup of tea without realizing it's burning their hand if their sensitivity has reduced. They might constantly pick at their skin to the point that they make their skin bleed and it forms scabs because they're trying to feel some sort of stimulation. Again, with dementia and tactile, it can be unpredictable, either needing more stimulation and creating it, or just the slightest bit feels like too much. Let's talk about taste. Taste buds diminish as we get older, but a lot of times in dementia, there seems to be this really strong or sudden desire for extra sugar in everything. And this is because many people with dementia have a reduced ability to taste, and they develop a stronger preference for sweeter foods because those are our last taste buds to go. So what you might see or hear, if this is happening for your loved one, is they might pour sugar on pasta or cereal multiple times. They might say something like, "You didn't quite make this right," or "It tastes funny." They might refuse vegetables or proteins, but really want to have dessert. They might eat spoiled food because they can't tell that it went bad. We've done videos on this channel before about how you can spice up different foods to help encourage a more well-rounded, nutritious meal that hints with some sweetness but isn't totally sweet. I'll make sure to link that below in this description. But finally, let's get to the last sense, which is smell. Smell is one of the earliest signs or one of the earliest senses that's impacted in Alzheimer's disease. So sometimes when people are testing for Alzheimer's disease, they might ask questions about smell or even put them through a smell test to see if there's been changes. Now, in normal aging, our smell sensitivity might decrease with time, but we can still pretty much detect strong odors. But in dementia, the brain's smell processing areas, they start to get damaged and strong odors can go totally unnoticed. Now, smell can be a big safety risk. So when somebody with dementia starts to have diminished smell, they might not smell smoke. They might not be able to smell gas leaks. They might not be able to tell that food has spoiled, all kinds of things. So this is a big safety risk as well. This is most commonly seen in Alzheimer's disease, but can be seen in Lewy body dementia as well. What you might notice if this is happening with your loved one is that they're eating spoiled food without noticing that it's gone bad. they're not noticing smells of smoke or gas leaks. They might be using too much perfume or cologne because, again, they can't smell it. And they might say they don't smell anything at all when other people comment that there's an odor. Now, if this is something that's happening for your loved one, we definitely want to make sure we have smoke detectors that are working in the home, that we're checking for spoiled food, that we have gas detectors in the home. We want to try to ramp up the safety as much as possible to compensate for the smell loss. Okay, so let's bring this all together. This is just a quick overview about how dementia impacts the senses. Normal aging will bring mild, gradual changes to our senses, but dementia changes how the brain understands sensory input, how it interprets sensory input. So it can turn everyday sights, sounds, feels into something frightening, scary, confusing. So this can also help us remember and maybe keep a little compassion that when our loved one hesitates, misinterprets, or reacts in ways that don't make sense, it might not be memory loss or stubbornness. It might literally be the way their brain is interpreting the world right now. All right, Careblazer, I hope this video helped you. If you've noticed any changes in your loved one's senses, you can leave them in a comment below. If you'd like to join the most amazing supportive group of Careblazers, you can check out our Care Collective program, where every single week Careblazers meet with one another, meet with me, other experts, and have a 24/7 platform to connect with people who truly understand and get it. So you can not only get answers to confusing questions and symptoms, you can also get the support you never knew existed. All right, I'm sending you so much love. Bye.
Also, Nico gets a belly rub for every person who subscribes from this video. So if you haven't already, click the red subscribe button. It's totally free, and Nico says thank you very much.